Okay, I've had a couple of people ask me how to turn on and off directional lights and whatnot when they change their skybox, and so I thought I might just do an informal live video and whatnot just to clarify it a bit. So here I've got a my cube and whatnot, and that is set up with an Udon behavior, and I haven't set it up proper. Let me just fix that. And now that I've set up, if I was to come and playtest this, we can see that now that I'm in the world, we should be able to click the button, and it should change the skybox. But obviously the lighting for, say, this dark scene isn't very good, and so how would I go about doing that? Well, if I was to stop playtesting, what we want to do for this case was we want to create a game object array, and we want to use that game object array and like cycle through it alongside our material array. And so I've got five directional lights, which are corresponding to the whatever skybox they are. Now, we need them to be 3 different objects that we're toggling on and off, at least for the method I'm going to use, and that I would normally use. So I'm just going to create some empties for both my directional lights that where I want to toggle multiple at the same time. And so all I would do is I'd grab my skyboxes and put them underneath that empty game object. However, ultimately you could just make it a child of one of the lights, and that would work just as well. By the way I've got these lights set up right now is not ideal, but that doesn't really matter. Anyways, so now I've got 3 objects that I can toggle on and off, and I can do these objects for this current scene. I can turn that off and turn on the other one, and we can see that when I give it my second skybox, we can see that the lighting is now correct for it, where it was incorrect when we were using the lights for skybox 1. Okay, so how can we toggle through these with Udon Graph? Well, if we come to the Udon Graph, we are greeted with my old code that I don't really like. There's a couple of changes I want to make just in this follow-up video to this part of the code, but it's only this bit that you actually need in order to do what I want to do, or what I said I'd do in the video. Anyways, so currently we've got, this is for the networked version, and I did a send custom networked event. Honestly, you should just change the, you should just do an networking set owner node and set it, and then put a networking local player into the local player slot, and then we can get rid of the entire extra custom event, and it will appear more snappy and more enjoyable to use for the player. Also, what I did here is I did all this branch. I checked if it's greater than or the branch node, and there's a slight shorter way of doing this. If you're only counting upwards, doesn't work if you're counting downwards, but you can go int remainder and just using, and this will give us the remainder after the top number is divided by the bottom number, and that corresponds to getting rid of, and obviously if the top one is divided by the bottom one and they equal 1, the remainder will then equal 0, resetting the process. And so we could actually get rid of, oops, do it the right way. We can actually get rid of this entire section. These arrows need to go that way. So I can delete that, and delete this node. And all of a sudden, our code has gotten a lot smaller. I wish I knew this when I made the video, but hey, both methods do work, so it's totally fine. Anyways, so what we've got down here is the select material change. When this node plays, we want to change what object we have activated, aka what light we have activated when that happens. So we've currently got a material array. I'm also going to create a game object array, if I can spell, and I'm going to call this skybox lights, I guess. And I'm just going to make this public so we can select inside the inspector. I'm then going to drag this out, and I'm going to put it into a game object array, I meant to do. And game object array get node. And I'm going to plug that into here. I'm then going to grab our selected material. I'm just going to duplicate it to make it look neater. And I'm going to put that over here. And then we want to do game. Oh, and then what we need to do is we need to cycle through all these game objects and turn off the ones that we're not using and turn on the ones that we are. There are more efficient ways of doing this, but I quite like specifying that I want all the other ones off instead of just the ones that are currently active, as it makes your code more redundant and it'll correct any mistakes you might have in your coding. So anyways, to do this, we need to use a for loop. and we want to see how big the array is. So we're going to do a game object array get length node. We're going to plug that into the end slot. And now that we've got that, we need to grab each individual. Okay, so what we need to do is, I did this wrong here. We want to grab this int value and we want to check if the int index is the same. If they are the same, that means that this is the object that we want. This is the object inside the array that we want to turn on. And if they are not the same, that means we want to turn off that object. So I'm going to put this int index into an int equals node. And then I'm going to put the selected material in. So if these equal the same, we want to put that into a branch node. And so now, if they are the same, no, we don't want to put that into a branch node. We want to put that into a game object set active node. And we want to put it into the body, so it does it for every single time the for loop runs. We want to do the set active, and we want to make that game object equal this. Now, what game object do we want? Well, we've got the skybox array here. We'll do the get. We're going to grab our int index and plug that into here. Now we've got the game object that's in that that is in the int index slot in our game object, and we're going to plug that into the set active node. And so now that we've got that, this should all work totally fine. We just need to fill out our array. So I'm just going to hit compile, come back into our scene, and then I want to click on my cube. I want to give it the free. I want to make our array equal free. I then want to give it our 3 different lights, to which I have named in a way so I know what order they should be in. And I'm just going to reset my skybox to be the original default one. And so now if I hit play, we should see it. So now when we click the button, it changes what game objects are currently active, as we can see up here. So hopefully this has been helpful. Feel free to leave a like on the video if you liked it, but I'll probably just leave it unlisted anyways. But feel free to share it around if someone else is having trouble with it. And I'll see you again next time. Bye.